obviously.
There it is. Thank you, everyone, for attending Whiskey Platoon's graduation and final project showcase. My name is Francisco, and I'm one of the software engineer instructors at Code Platoon. I would like to thank our whole team, our volunteers, the mentors, teacher assistants, and board members who worked so hard behind the scenes to make Code Platoon's Whiskey Platoon a success. Next, I'd like to give a special thanks to our apprenticeship partner, DRW, who committed to host some of our Code Platoon graduates for apprenticeships after graduation. I'd also like to thank Accenture's dedicated volunteers, resume coaches for Whiskey Platoon, Traveler Insurance volunteers whose workshop guided students in enhancing their LinkedIn presence, Operation Code for their ongoing partnership and dedication to the military tech community. And finally, our guest speakers for giving great presentations and workshops for Whiskey Platoon. It is the support from these companies and the time of the folks who volunteer and support us that help provide real-world industry learning and experiences for our students and prime our students for successful careers. For those of you who are not familiar with Code Platoon, we're a nonprofit coding bootcamp with a mission to help veterans, active duty service members, and military spouses launch successful careers as software engineers. The students have just completed an intense immersive 15-week program. Every day, they have written software and learned new computer science and software engineering concepts and skills. The group projects you will see here this afternoon are the result of the last 3 weeks of the students applying what they've learned over the past 3 months. We will start our event today with a speech from our class presidents, Kara and DJ.
Thank you, Francisco, and good afternoon, everyone. As co-president of Whiskey Platoon, it is my honor to express our deepest appreciation. Our instructors are the guiding lights of Code Platoon. They tirelessly share their expertise, patiently answer our questions, and inspire us to reach new heights. Their commitment to excellence ensures that we receive a top-notch education. Our TAs volunteered their time to help us understand complex concepts, debug code, and prepare for interviews. To all our TA volunteers, your dedication is invaluable. Our guest speakers and alumni bring real-world insights to our classrooms. They share their experiences, challenges, and success stories. Their talks ignite our passion for coding and remind us why we embarked on this journey. To our guest speakers, we are grateful for your wisdom and inspiration. Our support staff, administrators, coordinators, and everyone who ensures our daily operations are the unsung heroes. They handle logistics, paperwork, and countless details, allowing us to focus on learning. Last, but definitely not least, we need to give a heartfelt thank you to all of the neglected family and friends who have supported us throughout this journey. Your grace, understanding, and unwavering support has allowed us to achieve this accomplishment. Code Platoon is more than a boot camp. It's a family. Together, we learn, grow, and transform lives. To our instructors, TAs, guest speakers, volunteers, families, and support staff, you make this journey remarkable. Let's continue to lift each other up, celebrate victories, and overcome challenges. Thank you for being part of our Code Platoon story. And now I'll pass it off to Kara.
Thanks, DJ. I just want to take a moment to address our classmates directly. So we did it. We managed to survive 3 months of bug-induced insomnia and test-driven anxiety. And not only did we survive, we came out as web developers. Looking back at everything that we've done, from overcoming the first mountain that was OOP, to wading through a seemingly endless sea of Pokemon APIs, to reaching a point where we can somehow manage to take an app from idea to deployment in just a couple of weeks. It truly blows my mind to see how far we've all come. And never before have I seen so much eagerness to help each other and enthusiasm to learn in a classroom. It's been inspiring to see how much all of you have gone beyond the scope of this course to take on learning new technologies and languages and actually implementing complex concepts like AI technology into your projects. For me, I think the best part of this course has been that despite how much everyone has told us how competitive this field is, we've all gone above and beyond to help each other to learn and to succeed. We all come from different backgrounds and with different levels of experience and understanding. And even being spread out across the world, we've managed to come together to help each other all the way to the end. And here we are, finally, at graduation. So thank you, Whiskey Platoon, for being a motivational powerhouse and an inspiration to just keep learning. Our next steps won't be easy, and whether it's to find a job or continue your education or go on to change the world with the next big startup, I don't know, or no matter where we go or what we do, I know that we'll always have each other's backs. And if nothing else, if nothing else, trauma bonding is forever. So anyways, congratulations, Whiskey Platoon. We did it. We graduated. We're developers now. So let's go make some code.
All right. Thank you, Kara and DJ, for those heartfelt words. We will now move into our presentations. After each presentation, there will be a short time for questions, so feel free to put those in the comments during each presentation. We're going to be starting off our presentations today with Chess Tutor, built by Brian, Drew, Chris, Will, James, and Eric.
Hey, my name's Brian, and today I'm excited to introduce you to our web app, Cheap Chess Tutor. Along with our team, we have 6 people, myself, James, Eric, Chris, Will, and Drew, and we're all excited to show you the different parts that we worked on. Together, we each worked on different features of the app, as well as the basic app management processes, such as managing GitHub and testing and things like that. Overall, our app is a simple chess game, but it leverages artificial intelligence to help a new chess user learn the game by providing the chess user with possible moves or suggested moves. Now, that's the surface, but beneath that, our main goal was to test the limits of text-based artificial intelligence such as ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo and see how far intelligence can go to teach new students things that are complex or difficult, human students, such as chess. We were inspired by a fellow student of ours who showed us how to use it, and we decided to apply it to the chess problem set by translating a chessboard into text, having ChatGPT analyze that text and give us responses in terms of possible chess moves or suggested chess moves, which we then translate back into visual effects that the user can interact with on a chessboard in real time. And we got it to work. I'm happy to report that we got all 7 major required features for minimum viable product completed for our app, including about 50 test cases and 60 issues that we worked together as a team before deploying it to Amazon Web Services. And if you want, you can actually try it for yourself. We'll provide the link in the chat and have fun. So moving on, our overall design is backed by 6 core technologies: React, Postgres, SQL, Django, and 11 enabling technologies to make it all come together. But overall, we strove for simplicity, a bare minimum of requirements for a minimum viable product, and then a very simple database design and schema. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Eric, who will demonstrate the basic game menu functionality and game controls.
Hey everyone, this is Eric, and I implemented some visual content within the project, and I'm here to demonstrate some menu and controls functionality within it. Once we first load the page, over to the right we have a game board that renders, and over to the left we have our menu. Below we have 2 input boxes where we can put in our email and password, as well as a sign up button where we can sign up and create an account. For time's sake, we're just going to go ahead and sign in. Once we sign in, it takes us to a page where it greets the user. Over here, we can also choose where we want to play as light or dark, and we can create a new game. We can also join an existing game by pressing this button. And over to the right, we still have our empty game board. We're going to go ahead and choose light, press a new game, and it takes us to the actual game page. Over to the right, as you can see, our game pieces have loaded into the game board, and over to the left, we have our game controls. Underneath the game controls, it shows which players have joined. If you click on a piece and you press that suggest move button, it can suggest a move that you can make with one of the pieces. We also have a show file /rank labels. where it shows the position of each square. If you also click on a piece and you try to move to an invalid square where it cannot go, there's a little shake area for continuous gameplay. James and Chris can demonstrate the game further.
Thank you, Eric, for going over the game menu functionalities. My name's Chris, and I'm here with my partner James to show a demo of the gameplay flow. So, to talk about the game state real quick before we begin, our game isn't solely saved on the front end. Everything is saved in the back end in our database, allowing users to play multiple games at once or rejoin a game that they're currently in if they accidentally close a tab. But for time's sake, let's just go to the gameplay, and I'll turn on the rank labels and make my first move.
So Chris went ahead and made his first move, E2 to E4, and now that it's my turn, as a new chess player, I'd like to check out some of the functionality of the different options that might be provided for possible moves and maybe some recommendations too. So using OpenAI ChatGPT, I'm going to go ahead and suggest a move and see what it recommends. And right off the bat, we can see that we're running into some of the issues that we've found with ChatGPT, some of the limitations, because it's recommending that I move my pawn from D7 and capture his pawn at D2. And for several reasons, that's just not possible in a game of chess. So if I select this piece, we can see that the possible moves are actually moving it up to D6 or D5. So if I try that again with Stockfish and ask for a suggested move, it's going to recommend moving my pawn from E7 to E5, which is actually a pretty decent move. But as a new chess player, I'm feeling pretty confident, and I want to move my pawn from F7 to F5 and challenge his pawn at E4.
All right, thanks, James. So here I can showcase our capturing of pieces, making sure that, we follow chess rules as the state of our game updates to reflect that behavior. So as you can see here, I'll move my E4 to attack his pawn at F5, which pretty much shows that a piece has an onboard function of true or false. Right now it is true. If I capture that, it sets it to false and removes that piece from the board. So now it's James' turn to make his move.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. So I'm sure you guys were able to see that my screen is just a couple seconds behind his, but we're able to keep up. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Python chess for possible moves, because I know that Python chess is a little bit more consistent than ChatGPT. And I see Chris is moving his pawn up the board pretty far, and I want to do the same. So I'm going to move from G7 up to G5.
All right, thanks, James. As we can see here, I look like I'm in a good spot, but I want to be sure, so I want to ask Stockfish for a move suggestion. But I also want to show ChatGPT first, because let's see what ChatGPT says about a move suggestion. So right here, it tells me to move B2 to B3, but I don't really need to move there. I want to attack towards the right side of the board, so let's go ask Stockfish for a move suggestion. As you can see, it's suggesting my queen from D1 to H5 to try to threaten the king. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, sorry about that. I forgot to hit this checkbox. So moving my queen from D1 to H5.
Right, here comes the pop-up. Congrats, Chris. You won the game. And we know that Chris won because he was able to put my king in checkmate, which ends the game of chess. And we know that because we're able to check against the Python chess library, which provides a comprehensive list of legal moves in the game of chess. Up next, we have Will, who's going to go ahead and demonstrate his implementation of a player versus computer game.
I'm Will. I will be demonstrating the functionality for playing a chess game against the computer. So here I'm logged in as user. All I have to do is click on this checkbox, play against computer, and then click on new game. Then here my game renders. I am player 1, player 2 is computer, and saying it's your turn. So I will just move a random square. So here, and then the computer moves, and usually the computer is very quick to move. It usually does not take more than a second for them to think of a move. Their move is generated from ChatGPT, and that move gets validated against the Python chess library to see if it's a valid move. And so here I am just going to take his pawn. That's a free pawn right there. Now it's computer's turn. Computer moves there. And now I am actually going to ask Stockfish for a suggestion. Stockfish is a really good API for chess. Its ELO rank is like 3,600, which is crazy. It's like an all-time high. So it's a really good assistant for getting help for chess moves. So here I'm going to click suggest move. And it suggests that my knight moves up. So I will do that. Then computer's turn. Computer moves that pawn up. I will actually suggest another move from Stockfish. And then the other knight comes up. And so the computer moves that knight. So the computer sometimes, because it's querying ChatGPT for suggested moves, it can be hit or miss in like their move selection. And so sometimes it's not the best. So I will take that knight with my bishop. And so you see here how ChatGPT, how the computer just ignores that that obvious move right here, and it just moved this bishop somewhere else. So here I am going to move this here, and then it also ignored that move too. So sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes the computer is very good in its suggested moves, and in this case, not so much. So here I am going to take that. Okay. I will get actually a suggested move here from Stockfish. So it's saying knight to e5. And so computer moved its queen out. So I will actually get another suggested move here. It's saying my queen out. Okay, I see what's trying to go here. And then, so yeah, it moves its bishop. It doesn't see the threat. I suggest another move, which is me checking its king. And then it has to move its king that way. And so I will suggest move here. I will take its bishop. Then move its king back. I will actually take this rook here. So in this case, the computer is very bad today. So it's it does not recognize like what I'm doing, or like it's not countering any of the stuff that I'm doing. So that's why I look like such a great chess player, even though I'm all right. So here it's check. It's actually checkmate. Never mind. So here I won. It was pretty easy. And so, as you can see, I use AI to play against a computer that was assisted by AI. And so it definitely helped me in that Stockfish is actually a better chess player than ChatGPT. And so I use assistance of Stockfish to defeat a ChatGPT assisted computer player. And so I feel like that might be the future of chess. Who knows? But as for our platform, which is a chess educational platform for beginners who are learning how to play chess, it definitely does help to have a really good computer assistant helping you make moves so that you learn stuff and you have fun in the process. And so definitely it makes chess a lot better to play with. And with that, I will kick it off to Drew.
Hi, my name is Drew, and to wrap up this presentation, I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges we faced and our future plans for the project. The first challenge we faced was learning how to work with the GitHub flow so that every member on the team could simultaneously work on the code and push updates as they were completed. As you can see on the screen, we overcame this challenge with a strong planning phase of our project, in which we set up GitHub issues on our project to handle features, of which we were able to complete around 60. You can see each one of them listed here along with their priority and description tag. We each volunteered for features we felt strongly about and then tackled them through an equal share of individual hard work and pair programming, and then pushed our features onto the main branch only after face-to-face demos and code review. Another challenge we faced right away was learning the code base, which is on the screen now, specifically our AI prompts for our API requests to OpenAI, and on the other tab is our dependency injection, which we used to build out our project's functionality. Brian set our project up with a very strong foundation and offered many demos to get the rest of the team caught up to speed, but for many of us, this is the first time we had taken somebody else's project and really understood it and contributed to it enough to call it our own. To accomplish this, it required a strong understanding of the code, which we gained through said demos, reviews, and most of all, not being afraid to ask questions. This taught us all the versatility required to jump onto any project and thrive. While we are all impressed with how far this project has come from the beginning, we still have ambitious plans for it beyond Code Platoon graduation. Some of the things on our roadmap that we hope to implement in the near future are additional gameplay features, such as the ability to reverse a move, adjust the computer difficulty, and a chat feature so the players can enjoy live communication during the match. I think I speak for everyone on the project when I say thanks for viewing our presentation. We are so grateful for each other's hard work, and we can't wait to show everyone the potential of cheap chess.
All right. Thank you so much, Chess Tutor. Again, Chess Tutor was built by Brian, Drew, Chris, Will, James, and Eric. At this point, we would like to open up the floor for some questions.
One question I had was there an unexpected challenge or like an unexpected thing that you learned along the way from doing this group project that you wouldn't have, thought would have happened going into it?
That's a great question, Adam. Yeah, I mean, there's more than I can count. One of the big ones was we used this library on the front end called Axios that allows us to make data request calls over the internet to other websites. And man, that thing, it works great in a development environment on my local computer. But once I maybe move that into like a deployed environment, or even, set it up on someone else's computer, it behaves kind of unpredictably. And the workaround that we identified for that is just being very explicit in all of our calls with that tool to always provide it everything it could possibly need, such as, credentials or keys or whatever. And, after we started doing that and got into that habit, some of those glitches started to go away.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I have one question real quick too. I think it was with Will, but anyone feel free to share. Could you kind of share some more insights on the challenges you faced whenever you were integrating that Stockfish API you were using to analyze like potential moves?
Yeah, there were challenges in terms of like the API that we were querying. We first went with Rapid API, but since there were different, it wasn't as reliable as the actual Stockfish engine, which we eventually went with. And plus, like in terms of the data that we had to send over to the API, we had to put it in a special way. It's called Fen notation, which is like a special chess notation that's like, it's like R1, like rook one, and like it has like all the piece positions and stuff. And so we had to pass it correctly or it wouldn't read it the right way. And then it was sent back gibberish if it didn't read it correctly. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's cool, man. Really cool.
So this is Cassandra, and I do have a question for you as well. I noticed that ChatGPT periodically does go down. Do you have anything in your application to notify the user if that is a problem? Or what steps did you take to remediate any potential outages? Or how to deal with outages?
Hey, that's a great question, Cass. So for ChatGPT in particular, which is one of three tools that our backend server can reach out to for data. When ChatGPT in particular fails, and we did see this a lot, we can default to a different library on the front end and just say randomly select one of the many possible moves that the backend provided, as opposed to maybe a suggested move that ChatGPT suggested. We have talked about wrapping the server side calls in more error functionality, and same with the front end, but we didn't get as far as we'd like to with that. In fact, sometimes we'd almost gone too far in providing the error messages because after a game was over and someone got congratulated, we were getting an error message because the computer still wanted to play or something. And so we kind of just knocked that off for the time being and save that one for a future iteration. I hope that answers your question.
I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, Yams. You were the inspiration for this effort here.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Well, my question is with the two-player interactivity, how are you dealing with real time? If one player makes a move, how does the other player then know that the move was done?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm sure there's a very standard and professional way to handle this. Because we were in kind of an agile sprint 2 weeks setup, we just did the bare basic implementation for this type of two-way responsiveness over the internet, with the the backend server acting as the persistence and the intermediary between the players. And so what we did was we just basically set a timeout function call on each person's browser that would wait 5 seconds and then pull the server for any updates with the game state, which would provide all kinds of data. And we would conditionally set this timeout function to only ask for fresh data if it's not your turn, or if the game hasn't started yet. If it is your turn, and say you're kind of deciding on where you want to move, and maybe you've got some squares highlighted on the board, well, we don't want to interrupt that interaction, so we halted the request for game updates during that time while the user is interacting with their own board on their turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It was always a question on my mind, and I thought that was a smart way to deal with it.
All right, awesome. We seem to have one last question from our YouTube channel. Are there any other APIs you may have implemented to make features such as playing against the AI more difficult for more experienced chess players?
I think it'd be really interesting to explore, the ecosystem of chess AIs. There are probably many more than we even were exposed to during this short exercise. But in the near term, one of the easiest things we could do is allow the user to select a difficulty level. And if they wanted like an easy difficulty, well, then that would vector them to ChatGPT as their opponent, because ChatGPT sometimes, as Will was saying, sometimes can be good, but more times than not, it's either unreliable or just not doesn't show high expertise. If the user instead selected a more advanced opponent, that would vector the computer to use Stockfish, which is much more established. And in the greater scheme of things, it shows the versatility of OpenAI and ChatGPT is its strength. It can be used to cover so many topics. But once you get very precise with a certain topic, its ability to deliver consistent, reliable, testable inputs kind of goes down. And that's where you'd really want to use a more targeted AI engine that's designed for a certain complex use case. And currently the more precise AI seems to outperform the more general one. But that's why we did this experiment, to see, okay, how far can we go, and how long will it be until the generalized AI surpasses the targeted design one? I hope that answers the question.
And yeah, to add to what Brian said, it's not necessarily an API that we could have implemented. Also, we could have put like a feature that was like beginner, medium, or hard level for that, for Stockfish, and could have just changed the difficulty that way.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, that was Chess Tutor by Brian, Drew, Chris, Will, James, and Eric. Next, I'd like to introduce ChangeMate by Kara, Crystal, Lewis, Natalie, Sean, and Roger.
Hi everyone, my name is Crystal, and I'm going to be introducing you to our awesome web app called ChangeMate. To give you a little bit of background, our team believes even the smallest actions can lead to significant societal improvements. This conviction inspired us to create ChangeMate, which is a dynamic and engaging platform designed to facilitate the discovery, participation, and organization of social impact events and campaigns. It equips event organizers with robust tools for promoting initiatives, collaborating with peers, recruiting volunteers, and monitoring participation. Additionally, ChangeMate motivates users to engage in social impact challenges, offering recognition through badges and acknowledgments to inspire and sustain positive change in the community around us. Let me introduce you to the amazing team that made this app happen. Our back-end team consists of Kara and Roger, and then our front-end team consists of myself, Lewis, Natalie, and Sean. Now I'm going to pass it off to my mate Lewis, and he's going to give you a demo of this app.
Hey everyone, my name is Lewis Martin, and today I'm going to be giving you an overview of ChangeMate, the web application that we've been working these hard 2 to 3 weeks on creating. Today I'm going to take on the persona of Crystal. Crystal has been using the web application for about 3 to 4 weeks now. So she has a few events, she has a volunteer application in, and she's kind of curious about some other events in her community. Now, it's been a little while since Crystal signed up, and she wants just another quick overview of the website. Here she can scroll down, see a variety of causes, how to sign up, and the overall flow of the website, along with some frequently asked questions and answers. Now that she got that refresh, Crystal's going to go ahead and log in. Here she's prompted to enter her email address and password. When she types in the correct email and password, she's brought to her profile page. Now the profile page is broken down into 2 sections. A little bit about Crystal and her events. The little bit about her section displays her location, some interests, and the social impact that she's done strictly through this website, meaning events she's participated in, volunteer, attending, etc. After that, the events. Now they're broken down into 3 sections. Crystal can quickly see the events that she has admin permissions on here. And if she fills up with more than what can fit on the page, she can quickly scroll through here to see more. The volunteer events, meaning events that she's not an admin on, but events that other people have created with roles for volunteers, and she has chosen to volunteer for a role. Here we can see the status of her volunteer application is pending, meaning the owner of the event hasn't accepted or declined, which is perfectly fine. Those things take time. Here we have her attending events, meaning events that may not need volunteers or have all the volunteer roles filled up, but users can still come and attend the event as it sounds. Now, Crystal has quite a few events, as we saw, and it's kind of hard to keep track of all the dates of everything and where it's located. Here, she can click Show Calendar, and it'll show Crystal all of the events in a monthly basis. She can see, hey, I have some stuff going on in June, but I don't really have anything going in May, and I kind of want to participate a little bit more. So she can close out her calendar, and since she's used that web application for quite a while, she knows she can click Search, and it'll bring her to the search events page. Now this page, when it first renders, will automatically show you events in your local area. Your local area being a 60-mile radius. But Crystal's pretty free in May. Frankly, she has nothing going on that month. And she's kind of curious and willing to drive about events in the entire state of California. Now, Crystal can see California and in-person events, search, and here it increases the range a little bit. So a few more events pop up. Now, Crystal's kind of just curious about June because she wants to take May pretty easy. So here she can do a sub-filter for the month of June, and we'll do the entire month. And let's update this. Now Crystal can see two events, one June 15th and one June 22nd. Now arts in the education's fair really kind of interests her. So she's going to click more details here and get a quick overview of who it's hosted by, a description of the event, some of the details, and an option to add the event directly to her calendar. So she doesn't just have to be able to log onto the web app to see the events that she's participating in. Crystal thinks this sounds pretty cool. So here, she's going to say, hey, count me in. Now, as you can see, the only option is to attend. They don't have any volunteer roles for the Arts Education Fair available. So Crystal clicks attend. And if she changes her mind, she can always click on RSVP. Now, Crystal goes back to her profile. And she sees, hey, the Art Education Fair is now part of her attending events. Now, it's been a little while, and Crystal knows she has some events that she needs to do some tidying up on, some volunteer applications she needs to manage, and etc. She can also do that to the profile page easily. Instead of seeing more details, she can click here and have the option to go to the administration page. Here she can see a quick overview of the event details, the current hosts with the ability to add more, the to-do list tasks with the ability to add more or show what's done, and the applications. Now Adam is signing in here for the role of sign-in table greeter. That's perfect because currently if I go to sign-in table greeter, I don't have any users. Let's see why Adam wants to work this role. He's never volunteered with us before, some quick information about him, and why he wants the role. I think, hey, that sounds pretty good, Adam. So let's accept. And we can see here, now Adam is a member of the table greeters. And now we can go ahead and see that we have quite a few things on the to-do list, and we have a brand new volunteer, Adam. So it'd be very nice if we could have him help us out with some things. We have the cleanup crew here, but maybe, you know, the current people assigned to it are the people that should do it. So what if we set up like setup crew on us, a thing to do? I'm automatically assigned to it since I made the to-do list. However, I can switch it to Adam, our brand new volunteer, and see that they can help us a little bit more. Now to notify Adam and to let everybody else know that Adam's a new member of our group, what I can do is go to our new button here and switch between pages or edit the event if I wanted to, but specifically the collaboration page is where I want to go. Here, all the users that are volunteering or admins for the event can collaborate and participate. Now I can create a new post in the discussion forum like, hey, Adam, just wanted to thank you for volunteering. Can we get a big round of applause for our new volunteer? Here we can kind of welcome Adam. Other people can come in and comment on our existing post. We can see that Francisco already has 2 posts as well here. All the people that are just volunteers and not admins can see the to-do list, but not edit it, which is awesome. And just like in the collab page, they can add it to their calendars, view event details, and add whatever they want to the discussion forum. So now that we've covered everything on this page, the last thing we're going to do that Crystal is really interested in is editing the event. Mostly because she's decided that the time frame from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. don't really work great for her. And she's thinking more around 12 in the afternoon. All the other event details can stay exactly the same. The description's awesome. The picture's how we want it. And now we'll save the changes. Now so we can see the changes directly are reflected in the event details. And with that, I want to thank everybody for viewing this demonstration. And Kara, you got it from here.
Hi, I'm Kara, and I'm here to tell you about the behind-the-scenes technologies that make ChangeMate possible. On the front end, we use React and Vite to build our user interfaces and enhance them using components from Material UI and Bootstrap. And features such as our interactive maps and calendar functions that you saw were made possible with the integration of external APIs and libraries such as Mapbox, Full Calendar, and Add to Calendar button. We built the backend using Django and leveraged Django REST framework to build RESTful APIs to deliver our data to our users, and then integrated Swagger to automatically generate API documentation for our app. Our data was stored in a Postgres database and secured using user token authentication, and all of our images for the app were stored within an AWS S3 bucket, providing scalable storage to allow us to expand our reach to more users. On the management side of things, we used Figma and GitHub to make sure that we could pull it all together in the end. And with that, that's about all we have to share for the backend technologies. So I'm going to go ahead and pass you off to Natalie's capable hands.
Hello, my name is Natalie, and I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges we experienced. One common challenge we had was the time constraint of having only about 2.5 weeks to complete this project. To begin, we definitely had issues with React and getting certain components to render appropriately, especially as more data was being added. We thought about using Redux, but felt like we didn't have enough time to learn this. Next, our event search page was definitely a huge undertaking and had to be reworked a few times to get the location and proximity search set up correctly. Again, with time being a constraint, we were unable to use GeoDjango, which we thought would help make that functionality faster. Time was also spent working on decreasing our data load to make the website run more efficiently. We created different API endpoints for each page to make sure the page only received the data it needed. And of course, working in a large group, we experienced merge conflicts. And also a lot of time was spent collaborating and going back and forth on design decisions. And we even got some help from a fellow Code Platoon graduate who is now a product manager. So now I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Sean.
My name is Sean, and I'm excited to share our future plans for ChangeMate. As we reflect on what we've accomplished, we can really see that we've come a long way, but our journey is just beginning. Let's dive into what's next for ChangeMate. First, we're committed to enhancing the user experience by adding new features that foster deeper connections and empower users to make meaningful change in their communities. We'll introduce the ability to find and follow friends, making it easier for users to connect with like-minded individuals and amplify their impact together. Our next feature involves personalized feed of event suggestions and friends' activities, ensuring that users never miss an opportunity to engage in the causes they care about. Additionally, we'll introduce monthly and weekly social challenges, inspiring users to take action and create real-world impact through fun and interactive challenges. We'll also launch a charity search and information page with donation capabilities, empowering users to support causes they're passionate about directly through the app. Integration and innovation are key pillars of our future plans. We'll be leveraging social media integration to seamlessly share events and pull in external activities, expanding our reach and impact. Furthermore, we're excited to integrate AI technology for additional features and enhancements, such as event management tools, to streamline the user experience and make ChangeMate even more effective in driving social change. In conclusion, our vision for ChangeMate is to be more than just a social media platform. It's a catalyst for positive change, bringing community together to create a better world. We're excited to embark on this journey with all of you. Make waves, make change, ChangeMate. Thank you.
All right. That was Change Me by Kara, Crystal, Lewis, Natalie, Sean, and Roger. At this point, we're going to go ahead and address some questions that we've seen on our YouTube chat up to this point. The first one being, how does the proximity filter on your search page work?
Yeah, I can answer that. So I did a lot of work on the search page functionality along with Kara. And currently how we have it functioning is the search box for the location. When you enter in a location, it grabs the latitude and longitude for that location. And then we do some math on the back end to figure out how many miles away the radius would be doing
the math with the coordinates. And like we said, like we wanted to eventually use GeoDjango because that would make it a lot more smoother and more accurate. But we just didn't have the time to learn how to do that. But yeah, that's basically how our search works, our proximity search works.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Sean. The next question we have is, will the site be deployed for others to use?
Yes, we were able to deploy our app yesterday by setting up our application on virtual servers provided by Amazon Web Services called an EC2 instance. These instances act as the backbone of our app, ensuring it's always up and running. And we'll actually be able to share that link in the YouTube chat as well, so you guys can all go check it out yourself.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal. Next we have the UI looks great. Did you all use an outside source to assist with your design?
Yeah, I can answer that. So we, as Natalie had said, we actually reached out to a Platoon graduate, Shelby Escariata. I'm so sorry if I butchered that, but she was super helpful. She's a UX designer in real life, and she was able to help us hone in some of our own UX designs using her real world experience.
All right, that's great. And then I believe our final question from YouTube is, did you find it difficult to develop this as a virtual team? How did you work to overcome any obstacles caused by working in geographically separated locations?
Yeah, Lewis, you want to answer this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to answer that question. Coordination was probably the biggest part of that. So like we talked about, we're all remote, so we work in various geographical locations, East Coast, West Coast, you name it. Deciding how we're going to go with the flow and what flow that's going to look like was the biggest part. So kind of how the morning's going to look like, what we're going to do through the workday, and how the end of the day is going to look. And once we kind of came up with that steady rhythm, we were all on the same page, and being on the same page was crucial so that we all developed the application in the exact same mindset. Because you can imagine, like, with all these different features and pages, if a certain person has an idea for something and it's drastically different than the original idea, we can kind of very quickly stream off path. So it worked out great, and I'm great that we had such phenomenal teamwork and communication.
All right, thank you so much, Lewis. All right, and that seems like that's all the questions that we have from our streaming services. Does anyone else within the classroom have a question? All right, there are no other questions, so let's move into our next group here. I would like to introduce Platoon Console, which was made by Landon, DJ, Nika, Michael, Donnie, David, and David Caswell, also known as Hank.
Hi, everybody. My name is Landon Carr. I was part of the team Platoon Console. Our team developed an application that made it easier for students and instructors to interact with the cohort offered by Code Platoon. We're really excited to show you what we made today. First, I'm going to pass it off to Nika for user account and student creation.
Thanks, Landon, for introducing me. I'm Nika, and I'll be going over the student account and registering and logging in. So we'll start with registering. We'll go ahead and register ourselves as a student. First, last name, we'll put in our email, our phone number, and there will actually be a cohort code that we'll end up getting from the instructors so that we can be added to the appropriate cohort. We'll also add our password, and we actually have verification of password matching. And we'll hit submit. And that actually shows us that we were successful in registering and sends us an email as well. If for some reason a user forgets their password, they're actually able to click on the link forgot password, and it will actually email them a link so that they can actually go in and reset their password. And you'll be able to actually input a new password, which still does have verification for password matching, and hit submit. And I will go ahead and pass this over to Hank so he can talk about attendance and daily tasks.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So one of the most important features that we had was dealing with accountability daily. You know, Code Platoon students in general are a pretty busy bunch, and this allows for a single source of truth and kind of streamlining of the attendance process. So if you go in under daily tasks and click on the link that says attendance check-in, you're going to be, you'll have a drop down which says whether you're attending class or not. For now, we'll say no. We'll say, hey, you know, I've got something going on, and you'll type in the reason for your absence and submit. And then this feeds a model on the back end, or a table on the back end, which is essentially the attendance record per student per day. And then the instructors, there's a view associated with that where they can pull all of the attendance. Okay, and then you're also able to view the curriculum that you'll have for a given week. So you go to the GitHub link and select the link that, you know, the link for the appropriate week, and then all the pages for the associated GitHub repos that you're going to be working with throughout the curriculum will be populated on the Platoon console site. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Michael, who's going to talk a little bit about the materials and resources students are able to interact with on the site.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to speak about one of the resources, the YouTube playlist that we created for everybody. As you can see on here, we created a video gallery. It's kind of a friendly platform designed to enhance the learning experience. And we hope that the interface will allow people to kind of browse this list that we created. On the front page, we have a search bar to locate specific topics. So if somebody wants to search for, say, OOP, so for like object-oriented programming, the user can type that in and then search for it. It will then create a list of all the titles that actually goes and queries the Code Platoon interface, the channel on YouTube. And as you can see, you can pick any of these modals if you want. So for example, if you click on one, it'll bring it up, and then following the theme of our site, you can now do study sessions seamlessly. You can practice and do whatever you want, all from within the comfort of using this uniquely grouped application that we've designed. So now I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to David.
All right, hello everyone. I'm going to be going over our calendar integration, the demo list from the student perspective, and also the daily feedback form. So we use a Google Calendar integration. That link is configured dynamically on the back end by the instructor per cohort. We have two links here. If you click on daily agenda, we can see a snapshot of what's up on deck for the day. And if we scroll, we can see the week and on forward. And if we close that and look at the monthly, same thing, we get a snapshot of the entire month. If we look at the code demo list under pairs and demos, the student can see what the current demo list looks like. So who's on deck to demo next, who has demoed and who has not. We just click the daily feedback form. We have the form. It can be filled out and submitted right from there. And that covers my section. So I'll pass that back over to Nika to begin the instructor portion.
Thank you so much, David. And now we're going to pivot over to what our application would look like if you are an instructor. So you would log in, and this is your home page that you would see. We're going to be looking at roll call. So what happens is at the beginning of the day, as each student actually states whether or not they're going to be present, you're going to be able to see that. So if you select a cohort, you'll be able to see who is actually present and who is absent. And if you click that, it actually will give you a reason, and you're able to go in and state whether or not the absence will be excused or not. So that helps us to be able to see as students who's going to be able and available for any other things that we're doing that day. And so now I'm going to pass it over to DJ to talk about the demo management.
Thank you, Nika. So as an instructor, we'll go into the generate demo list. We'll select our cohort, and this will list our current demo status of all the students. So we do code demos in the morning and at the beginning and at the end of class. This helps track who's already demoed. So let's say Rania has on deck. She would be presenting today, and then once she finished, she would be marked as complete. Generally, students pick the next person. However, we also have the functionality to pick a random student on deck, which will sort them to the beginning of the list. So when a cycle of students is completed, there's an easy button for the instructor to click to reset all the students from their completed status, and it completely resets everyone to do, and then that sets it up for the next iteration of demoing. I'm going to now pass it on to Donnie, who's going to discuss pair programming.
Thank you, DJ. Hello, everybody. My name is Dominic Colbert, and today I will be talking about our pair programming generator that we have made for instructors to use for the cohorts. So inside of our generate group component, we have a drop down that will allow instructors to select what cohort they are in. As you know, we have immersive programs and we have evening and weekends, so they'll be able to filter through by that. And then the instructor can also pick how many students will be in a group. Pair programming is pretty common throughout the cohort, but we can also generate groups of higher numbers. The instructor will input the number and then click create groups to create the group. And as you can see right now in group 1, we also have functionality to make sure we don't have any leftover students, and it will just throw them into another group so we don't have a lonesome person. But yeah, and that's pretty much our generate grouping component. And I will be passing it back to Landon to talk about some admin things.
All right, yeah, thank you, Donnie. I'm going to go over how instructors can manage the entire website. So if we go in here, what we have up here is this is setting the curriculum endpoint for the GitHub that DJ and others demonstrated earlier for pulling the correct curriculum. So this is currently set up to point at the Code Platoon curriculum. Then, for example, if we have a additional cohort coming up, we will go ahead and create a code for it. We'll give it a code name, and we will set the start and end date. And we'll go ahead and add that. Successfully added a cohort. All right, so you can also associate links that will be displayed for students on the front end, dynamically chosen per cohort that they're associated with. So I'll add a Zoom link, full stack program. We'll add a URL, and we'll associate it with the cohort based on the primary key, and that will go ahead and add it. Below here, we have the link management where we can actually adjust the links that we created. So if I want to give this Zoom link a different tag, it'll be Zoom link number 2, and I can go ahead and fire that off and update that link. So now students will see this link on their front end page. From there, I will pass it off to DJ for the conclusion of this presentation.
Thank you, Landon. I hope everyone enjoyed our presentation. What were our plans in the future we've discussed and we're working into our development process will be an alumni section, a bulletin board, a feature we call Platoon Canvas, which will allow drawing and whiteboarding from inside Platoon console, and a profile section for students and alumni. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much, Platoon console. Again, that was Platoon console by Landon, DJ, Nika, Michael, Donnie, David, and Hank. At this point, does anyone have any questions for Platoon console?
Yeah, I had a quick question. I see Platoon console is designed to be used by both instructors and students, which have like different user needs. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your process for researching which features would be most useful for the instructors.
Yeah, I'll take that. So my name's Lankar. I was part of Platoon Console. So there's basically two customers for our application, one being students, one being instructors. So we had an intimate knowledge of what the students would need. But then we also met pretty frequently with the instructors, Adam and Francisco, to kind of define the scope in which instructors interacted with the class and what type of information they needed to collect on their end.
All right. That's great. Doesn't seem like there are any other questions. Moving on to our next group, I'm going to go ahead and introduce transparent budget decisions, also known as TBD. TBD was made by Andrew, Wes, George, Michael, Jose, and Saul.
Hi, I'm Andrew Dew, and welcome to the presentation for Transparent Budget Decisions. Our group created a personal finance tracker for our project. The inspiration for this project came from my wife after she suggested that a web application that would not only track, but forecast future monthly expenses would be beneficial for her. That became the basis of our project. I'd now like to introduce you to our team, which consists of Mike Durrell, Saul Alvarez, Jose Sandoval, George Ayala, Weston Kelly, and myself. I will now be followed by Weston Kelly.
Hi, my name is Weston Kelly, and I'm going to talk to you about the planning and collaboration process for the project. Some of the first steps that we took were to limit scope by utilizing methods we learned from the recent Agile workshop. We created a whiteboard, as seen here, of potential features and then categorized them into must-have, should-have, could-have, and won't-have based on our vision of the minimum viable product, or MVP. Then if these features were met with time still remaining before the deadline, we could explore stretch goals beyond MVP. Each feature was broken down into a user story to essentially determine what that looks like from the user's perspective and what the success criteria looks like, meaning that the feature is finished. Before we started writing any code, the development tasks were split up based on a discussion of each member's strengths and interests, such as front-end, back-end, or specific features. Once actual coding began, we used Slack, Zoom, and GitHub to collaborate seamlessly. It was a learning process to implement and follow best practices for version control and using feature branches to limit merge conflicts or introduction of bugs. Code was written sometimes individually and other times in pair programming sessions using VS Code LiveShare or screen sharing on Zoom. Our daily routine included morning stand-ups to assess progress or blockers and code demos to show features and functionality to the rest of the team. With that, we were able to reach MVP with some time to spare. I'll now hand it off to Jose for a walkthrough of some of the key features of the application.
Hello, my name is Jose, and I'll be walking you through the entrance to our web app and the login process. Upon entering our page, if I go ahead and refresh, you will notice that we will be greeted with the TBD logo and then presented with our two options. We wanted to keep this simple and follow the design pattern of less is more, provide simplified paths without overwhelming users with an abundance of options. This kind of ties in with our mission statement, as you can see there, breaking the stigma that focusing on your money is difficult. So we will go ahead and check out the About page. As we enter, we follow through with the same design, keeping distractions away, no buttons, nav bars, or anything of those sorts. We just provide a glimpse into the top features that we have, which one is our calendar. That's very interactive, provides a lot of data, transactions, and events. And then we go down to mentioning the tables, graphs, all things rows and columns. And lastly, our budgets data, which is a way to track and visualize the remaining portion of your set budgets and what you've used throughout. Once we are ready, we can click on any one of these and sign up today to enter the login/user register page. If you're a new user, you can definitely enter this way, or if you're a returning user, you can come in and log back in. The use of Google for a return use or a register makes it seamlessly to just enter your current information and not have to recreate an account. And just like that, we are landing on our dashboard page where Saul and George will take over.
This is our dashboard. On our dashboard, we can do multiple things, to include adding new accounts. In this case, let's say we want to add an account for college savings. Next, we can manage our accounts. We can see all the previous accounts we've made. We can also delete them if they are no longer needed. We also have adding transactions. We can always add a transaction to whatever account we'd like. We can select a budget. In this case, we'll leave it blank. We can give it a name. Let's say we made a payment. We can also give it an amount. We put about $500 in there, and then select a date. We'll go ahead and choose today's date. Next, we can choose whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal. And lastly, you can select whether it's a monthly recurring charge or not. Now we can see our college savings account has been created and funds have been allocated. Next, we'll take a look at our budgets. To create a budget, all you need is a name and the amount you want to give it. After that, you can take a look at your budgets. You can always view them, see how much you gave up, and how much you've currently spent from the budget. Then you can see the remainder. You can always update it or delete it. And lastly, we'll take a look at our monthly transactions. These transactions happen monthly, so you can always update them or delete them as needed. Next, you'll take a look at our tables, our calendar, and our line graphs.
Hello, my name is George, and I'm going to be going over the interactive calendar and line charts. As you can see right now, we have our calendar right here, in which you can change the years and the months. And everything's color-coded depending on whether it's a deposit or withdrawal. So let's go ahead and click on May 1st. Right now we get a little window that displays the date, displays the transaction name, and transaction amount. Alright, let's scroll down. And right now we have our budgets, groceries, summer, and bills. We have our accounts down here. Let's go ahead and click on debit account. Alright, we got our line chart, which you can interact with. Right now it has the account name, the transaction date, and transaction amount. Here's our transactions. Let's go ahead and make a update. Let's say rent is due on the 10th. Let's update this, and the line chart is going to make the change. Let's go ahead and delete landscaping. It changes as we go. All right. That concludes my portion.
Hi, my name is Mike Durrell, and I'll be walking you through the Meet the Team and Education pages. Here on the Meet the Team page, this feature was pretty fun to build. We took all of our images and rendered 80s Wall Street bankers in ChatGPT and did a little bio. So TBD, helping you hit your financial targets. Well, that was fun. So now let's move on to the education page. Here in the education page, you can look over various suggestions. What is good debt, bad debt? Here are a few pre-populated ones. And then we have this built up with ChatGPT to allow us to ask various other questions. Here's just an example of the functionality. All right, well, I'm going to hand it back to Andrew.
Our project uses a Vite React.js front-end scaffolding. along with a Firestore Firebase database. Front-end styling was accomplished using Tailwind CSS in conjunction with ShadCN in React Bootstrap. The imports for our dashboard include LineChart.js along with React Calendar. Lastly, our education page chatbot is powered by the OpenAI API. Some of the challenges we faced along the way were the real-time update of data and features across our dashboard. When a user would add a transaction or update a transaction, such as a date or amount, that data need to be spread across multiple components, including the calendar, line chart, and integrated transactions list. Secondly, learning the NoSQL document style database of Firestore was challenging in the beginning of our project. And lastly, limiting the database requests and instead sharing the data from the dashboard across the components was one of the last challenges we faced. Some of our future goals include incorporating Plaid's API to integrate real-time user banking information so that the user would not have to manually input transactions. And secondly, customizing the OpenAI chatbot with user data to more tailor responses for each independent user. Our current project is hosted at the site on the screen. If you believe you would benefit from the project or would just like to try it out, please go to the address listed. Thank you. This concludes our presentation.
All right, thank you so much, TBD. Again, that's Transparent Budget Decisions by Andrew, Wes, George, Michael, Jose, and Saul. And looks like we have a question from YouTube here. We have super cool UI designed. Specifically, how did you all make the Wall Street Bank bio UI design feature of the chamber turning?
Okay, I'll handle that one. So basically, I've found an image of a cylinder, and then I set that up, and I use transform to get it to rotate 60 degrees. And then each of the individual pictures, I just took our actual pictures and put them into ChatGPT with the prompt that I wanted Winchester shirts and suspenders for an 80s Wall Street banker. And then each image was set at an offset degree and an X distance away from the center. And then I used state so that every time you clicked on it, it would trigger the audio file for the cha-ching, and then it was rotating the cylinder at the same time that the picture's relative position was rotating by 60 degrees. But then it also would offset the rotation of the picture so that everyone would remain upright. And then there was conditional rendering that as soon as it was at the top of the cylinder, it would conditionally render green. And then the picture associated with the given team member would conditionally render a description of them.
That sounds great. So correct me if I'm wrong, are you saying that you utilize essentially just basic JavaScript functions with CSS to be able to create that animation working? Where you
Yes. So it was all captured in one class for the cylinder with the pictures, and then the cylinder had a CSS class, and then the images had a default class. But then I created some extra classes that allowed me to change the I believe it was the translate X, because the cylinder image wasn't completely symmetrical. So in order to align everything into the various chambers, I basically had to custom tweak each individual image at a slightly different angle, as well as distance from the center to center it up. But it was all JavaScript using state and then CSS classes.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mike. All right, the next question we have is, would you recommend a NoSQL database for future projects or return to a database like Postgres?
I'll take that one. I think there are pros and cons to both a NoSQL style database and also like a relational database like PostgreSQL. honestly, I almost prefer Postgres because of the ability to validate data and clean data as it goes into the database with your validators and serializers. Versus when you're using the NoSQL database, a lot of that work is done on the front end prior to entering in the data. So you have to develop a lot of conditionals for your program before the data goes into it. So there's a lot of work that's done prior to actually entering your data into the database that I think could be avoided if you use a Postgres style database. But I think it would really depend on what the project is next time and what data is being stored. I think it would be a little easier if we were to do this again, to do a Postgres style database for all the transactions, to be able to more easily manipulate the data without having to use so much work on the front end through JavaScript.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. Does anyone else have any other questions for TBD? All right. When it comes to those charts that you guys created and displayed there, um, how was the experience behind creating those charts? Were those also created through pure JavaScript and CSS, or did you guys use some sort of external library for that? I believe you guys did a mention of that during your presentation. Can you talk more about it?
Yes, I'll take this one. So in terms of the charts, we use chart.js. We use that library to handle pretty much the line charts, make it interactive, and with the animation as well. In terms of that, that was pretty basic once you like read through the documentation. But for the calendar was a little bit more tricky because there wasn't much to the documentation, and you kind of had they gave you more freedom to actually make adjustments to that.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, George. Again, that was TBD by Andrew, Wes, George, Michael, Jose, and Saul. The next group and our final group that we'll be presenting today will be Disclone, created by Edge, Tom, Adrian, Nathan, Stephen, and Jordan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jordan Edgington. I'm an Air Force veteran, and I'm excited to present our project Disclone to you. Before we dive into the details, let me introduce our team. Along with me are Tom Childress, an Army veteran, Nathan Pennington, a Navy veteran, Jordan Yamada, a Marine Corps veteran, Adrian Garcia, an Air Force veteran, and Stephen Thomas, a Marine Corps veteran. Disclone is a full-stack chat application inspired by Discord, designed to provide users with seamless communication experience. Whether it's for casual conversations, team collaborations, or gaming communities, Disclone offers a user-friendly platform tailored to various needs and preferences. One of the exciting aspects of developing Disclone was our team's shared interest in exploring and mastering new technologies. Rather than focusing solely on creating a feature-rich application with existing technologies, we saw this project as an opportunity to expand our skill set and push the boundaries of our knowledge. As a result, we decided to challenge ourselves by incorporating cutting-edge technologies that we were eager to learn and implement successfully. These technologies not only enhance the functionality and performance of Disclone, but also represent significant milestones in our journey of continuous learning and growth. A quick high-level overview of some of these technologies we explored include the use of multiple back-end servers, our static page front-end or client, a persistent database paired with a caching service, and the utilization of containerization for ease of development and production. I will now pass the floor to Tom to get into more of the specifics of some of these new technologies.
Hey everyone, I'm Tom, and today I'm going to go over a low-level look at our architecture and the structure of our application. Here's our main GitHub repo, here's our README, a little bit about developing on the source code, but here we're going to go into our architecture documentation. So here you can see our client. Our front end was built with React and TypeScript. Our back end was built with Django and Django REST framework to support our synchronous Gunicorn application. And our Django channels were used to serve our asynchronous Daphne application. Caching was provided by Redis, and our persistent data lies in PostgreSQL. So here is an illustration of how the WebSocket server kind of works. So our client makes a handshake with the WebSocket server and sends a message. Once it sends a message, the WebSocket grabs that message from the one client and distributes it to every single client that's connected to the channel. To better illustrate, the client makes a handshake connection request with the server. Once that is received, the server maintains that connection open with the client. Then messages are sent back and forth between the server and the client. And finally, when the client disconnects, the connection is closed. Another illustration of how to do this is we have two clients right here. Each client connects to the WebSocket server when they enter a channel. Once they enter that channel, that connection remains open and it listens for either client sending messages. Once a client sends a message, as we discussed before, it is sent out to every client that's connected to that channel. Additionally, these two clients can make requests to our gUnicorn server. Once it makes a request, it grabs the data from the PostgreSQL database, or when it's sitting in the caching layer in Redis, and sends it back to the clients. And then that connection is closed until the next request is made. Another illustration of these two different types of connections is on an HTTP connection. The client sends a request, the server takes that request, sends a response, and the connection is terminated. However, with a WebSocket, the client makes the request to connect to the server, the handshake is made, and the connection is maintained until the client says, I want to disconnect. Finally, for containerization, we use Docker and Docker Compose in order to make this application come to life. Passing around code was very difficult with a lot of the dependencies that we used, but containerization made this very easy. Additionally, it made it very easy to produce and deploy this application because all we had to do was open up an Elastic Cloud Compute instance, pull the image down, and spin it up in there.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our demo session today. I'm going to show you how to navigate our platform using two different accounts. We'll cover signing up, creating a server, creating a channel, uploading images, and engaging a live chat. First, let's look at the account we already have. As you can see here, I'm currently logged in as Happy Dad. Next, we'll go ahead and create a server by clicking on Add Server here. And now that the server is created, you can see up here, we're able to access it. I'm going to go ahead and create the channel. We're able to talk in, and the server ID is 13 at the moment, and I'm going to go ahead and have Jordan join us so we're able to engage in chat and you're able to see the live functionality. Awesome. As you can see, Jordan is here and he's talking to me. Alright, let's switch gears and sign up with a second account to demonstrate how easy and quick the process is. Here I'm going to input my information. And as you can see, I'm now signed up with my new account, Happy Man. And here I'm going to show you guys a bit of the customization we allow here. We're able to adjust our username if needed again, and we're able to add an image as well. Now here I'm going to go ahead and add an image. I'm going to navigate to my desktop and upload an image here. Image is updated, and I'm going to go ahead and navigate to a server. There we go. And actually, I'll join a server that already exists that we currently have. And on the left hand side here in our channel, you can see that the images are uploaded for Jordan and I. And that concludes our demo. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Hey guys, I'm Nathan, and I'm going to go over our project planning, user experience, and agile workflow. For the initial project planning, we knew that we wanted to have the minimal viable product to allow the user to join a channel, join a server, and chat in real time with other users. Here we see an example of a user story for posting a message. After consolidating these user goals, this led us to sketch out a wireframe of how we wanted our app to look to allow the user to accomplish these goals. Next, I want to show how we use Trello to implement an agile workflow by breaking up our features and design decisions into smaller tasks. This allowed us to divvy up the project into smaller chunks and assign them to different members of the team. And that's it for project planning and user experience. Up next, we have Yams.
Hey all, I'm Jordan Yamato, the Amsterdam class. As mentioned, we took this project as the chance to explore and tackle as many new technologies as we could. Containerization with Docker, incorporating TypeScript with React, utilizing WebSockets and Django channels for real-time chat. But really, the biggest challenge was balancing our feature scope with our time constraints. Learning curves were steep, and much of our time was committed to troubleshooting. A lot of pain points, but plenty of growth too. We definitely had many discussions on how we could accomplish as much as we could with the limited time now as possible. We compromised quite a few features, but we got a lot, I think, accomplished. I'm now going to pass off to Stephen, and he can talk more about the features that we have planned for the future.
Hi, I'm Steven. I am now going to discuss the future features that this clone application will have. These features are voice and video using WebRTC. This technology is used for peer-to-peer architecture. We can facilitate direct communication between users without the need for a mediator, and ensuring low latency and high-quality audio and video transmission. Also, adding clear and accessible tools for users to control and make changes to video settings, all the while protecting users' privacy using encryption protocols, maintaining scalability and performance throughout changes made to the application, and ensuring the integrity of this clone still meets user needs. Overall, implementing these core features for our application will improve user experience tremendously. Now, closing remarks from Jordan.
Thank you guys for watching our presentation of our application Disclone. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.
All right, that was Disclone by Edge, Tom, Adrian, Nathan, Steven, and Jordan. And we have a question here from one of our streaming services is what made you choose Docker over other options for this project?
Hey everyone, I can take that one. So initially, it was kind of a rough start. We had a lot of pain points with it, but the main reason for choosing Docker in the beginning was because of the multiple services that we were using and system requirements for everybody. Passing around images and being able to use the same containerization allowed us to develop code using the same containers and the same kind of OS virtual machines, and regardless of like our operating system on our local machines. Additionally, in the end, it made production a lot easier. We were able to deploy the compose image up to an EC2 instance much more easily than a manual deployment. Also, initially when we were planning the project, I wanted to think about scalability the most. And for the future features of this project, I'd like to use tools like Terraform and Ansible to get our infrastructure written out very well, and then use an orchestration tool such as Kubernetes to orchestrate multiple replicas being made of our containers, and using a tool like Amazon EKS to make our application very scalable, both vertically and horizontally.
That's a great answer, Tom. Really appreciate it. To piggyback off of that, you know, when you chose to do this project and build it in the way that you guys built it, it seems like there was an intent for creating some sort of CI/CD pipeline. Were you guys able to implement something like that during your work process, or is that going to be a feature later on to come?
Unfortunately, I think that'll be a feature later to come. We tried to implement it at first, but I was having issues with Docker Hub, and also we were troubleshooting a lot of underlying Docker issues in people's systems. It's a really nice tool, but it takes a lot of configuration and a lot of learning in order to implement. So this past 3 weeks has been a lot of learning about Docker and Compose and sort of the pitfalls of Compose versus using tools like Swarm or Kubernetes. So the more that we learn about infrastructure as code and the more we learn about orchestration tools like Kubernetes and Swarm, I think more features will be built later on in order to really make the orchestration very good and scalable for this application.
That's great. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions for Disclone? All right. I do have one final question. Your guys' icon, is that supposed to be a stormtrooper? Or what are we looking at here in the icon?
Yeah, I could take this one. Yeah, the idea is that it's based off of like the clones from Star Wars. I think when we were choosing the project, Adam was referencing like maybe doing like a Reddit clone or a Discord clone, and the term clone just stuck out, and that's where the logo came from.
I see. So it's a Clone Wars kind of reference here.
100%.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. This is going to conclude the presentation portion of our program, but there are still a few things left before we conclude. We'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the hard work and long hours put in by our TAs, Aria, June, Leandro, Louis, and Tristan. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication to the success of Whiskey Platoon students. Now we'll open the floor for the class instructors to say a few words, starting our closing remarks with our Code Platoon's program director, Adam Cahan.
Dear students, you've gone from installing tools like Git and databases on day one, unraveling unit tests to write your object-oriented programming project, wrestling with React.js, and then powering through your personal full stack application projects to finally put all of those pieces together on your group capstone projects and building a real application. Welcome to the world of software engineering. There are many mountains to climb and rivers to ford, but there are also some awesome views. And I hope that you're able to take away from this, not just the technical skills that you gained, but also those soft engineering skills from designing, thinking strategically about work and time and prioritizing development efforts, project management, whiteboarding, code reviewing, and that really important skill of knowing when to just be pragmatic and hack something together to get it to work and when not to do that. Most of all, I hope you see that we're really able to go further together than working on our own, and that learning really should be something that's never ending. I really think that these are the skills that will serve you best as you all move forward in your careers. I feel very lucky to have incredible fellow instructors and colleagues here at Code Platoon, and to be able to learn something new from them every day. As every day I've been able to learn something new from all of you. It's been a pleasure to go on this journey with you. Your constant dedication, your hard work, and your commitment to learning and becoming software engineers is really inspiring and motivating. Thank you for your time, your work, and your willingness to try new things. On behalf of Code Platoon, we want to wish you all of the best in your careers in tech. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Adam. For me in Code Platoon, the one thing that I would like to say to everyone is the best part about my job, or the part that I find the most enjoyable about my job, isn't the teaching, isn't necessarily the interacting with tech or any of the other things that I do in the background. It's actually interacting with every single one of you. It's been a pleasure getting to know all of you, getting to work with all of you, and seeing you all grow from the first day that you came here to Code Platoon, where we started learning about functions, variables, to ending the entire program and getting questions where I'm getting asked about multiple servers happening at the same time. how exactly is it that a WebSocket connects to a channel? Some questions that are just way over my head even, and pushes me to go out there and figure things out. It's fantastic watching the growth that happens in the last 3 months, and it's great to be able to interact and meet people like you all who can meet a challenge, take that challenge, and not only surpass it, but go above and beyond, learn the information they need to learn in order to apply different concepts over and over again. I'm more than confident in everyone's ability here to go out there and do bigger, greater things. And at this point, I guess that's what's next in our chapter. Please go forth and go do bigger, better things. Thank you so much, everyone. And now our closing ceremonies.
Adrian Garcia. Albert Roybal. Andrew Dew. Brett Wilson. Brian McLean. Cassandra Gross. Chris Quinones. Crystal Joe. David Caswell. David Geither. DJ Mann. Dominic Colbert. Drew Liberton. Eric Bassa Dennis. James Hershey. Jordan Edgington. Jordan Yams Yamada. George Ayala. Jose Sandoval. Tara Watts. Kirk Paradella. Landon Carr. Louis Martin. Michael Durrell. Michael Roy. Natalie Riviero. Nathan Pennington. Oliver Alvarado. Roger Lee. Saul Alvarez. Sean Smith. Stephen Thomas. Tanika Blair. Thomas Childress. Weston Kelly. William Fang. And our honor graduates. Francisco, would you like to do the honors with the honor graduates?
Of course, thank you. Last but not least, special congratulations to our honor graduates who achieved a 100% GPA and a perfect attendance throughout the 15-week program. Andrew Dew, David Geither, Landon Carr, Brian McLean, Jose Sandoval, Tara Watts, and Thomas Childrens. Thank you so much, everyone, and we greatly appreciate all of your effort and work that you placed within the last 15 weeks inside of Whiskey Platoon. This concludes our ceremony for today. Thank you for participating in today's events, everyone. And congratulations, Whiskey.